Hey everybody, Erica Serwin here from Pink Bucker Designs, and I have one more Halloween treat box for you this week featuring the Boo to You little monster. He's so cute. Inside of this little box are something I found at my grocery store that I hadn't seen before. These are Russell Stover Coconut Nest, which Russell Stover makes generally throughout the year, but look, they added a little monster face. And when I saw it, I immediately thought of the little monsters. So this box will hold 2 of these. Now, over on my blog, I like to link you guys to the candy and things that I use, but I couldn't really find these exact ones online. So I linked you to something similar, other Russell Stover Halloween chocolates that were there in the same area that are the same size. So if you want to make this box, you can do that. Of course, you can fill this box with any kind of candy, but it does fit these perfectly. Now, as I mentioned, Boo to You is our little star. We're using this guy. I have 2 other projects on my blog, one with this guy and one with this guy. You can click over there. The link is here in the description. It'll take you to my blog post where you will find this PDF that has the products that I used and the measurements. The measurements are down here below, okay? Now there's one other stamp set you might have noticed, and it's that diagonal stripe, and that is this diagonal stripe from the Tiny Keepsake stamp set. We're going to use that too. Okay, let's get started. I want to make the monster first because have you noticed what I did with his hands? I cut them off, yeah, and I put them on this little sign so it looks like he's holding it. So we're gonna let that dry while we make the box. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I am going to stamp him in Memento Black, which I left in the last video I made. Here we go. Because I am coloring with Stampin' Blends, I want to use Memento Black so that the color doesn't bleed. When you're using an alcohol-based marker, you definitely want to use a water-based ink. All right, we're going to start with Bermuda Bay. And if you'll notice, a big swath of him in the middle is not going to be seen. So we're not going to worry too much about this whole middle section. I'm going to take my light first. This feels dark. Let's make sure, yep, light. Sometimes I pull those colors out and I think, wait a minute, that looks kind of dark. But no, this is a darker color. So that's why our light looks a little bit darker. All right, so let's just color that all the way up to there. And this time I'm using the brush tip. I prefer actually to use the bullet tip because, and I am going to switch over, because I feel like I have much better control with this bullet tip end in smaller areas. That little bottom area is bigger, so that's why I pulled out the brush tip first. All right, so let's color all this in. I'm not going to worry too much about down here around the mouth because we're going to cover that up, but we do definitely see his eyes. And his little hands are going to be very important. Let's get those colored. Now, how about we add in a little bit of shadow? I'm going to take my dark Bermuda Bay and I'm just going to kind of add some shadow wherever you see those little tick marks. Let's see, under his horns probably would be a little bit darker. Okay, over here on this side. There we go. Isn't he funny? He looks like the monster that sleeps under the bed. I know, he's a happy monster though. I wouldn't be too scared of him. Okay, I think we're good there. Now let's take Mango Melody. We're going to start with the light. And I'm just going to do the whole horn in because we're going to color those dots with the darker. Okay, I don't know why I'm using that brush tip. I do really prefer to use that bullet end. It's funny, we all have a different preference. So if you like to use that brush tip in, good for you. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. All right, so I'm going to take the dark. See how that dark just, it's a good contrast there. All right, there we go. You know what? I see a little bit right here. I need to kind of get that colored in. I'm going quickly for the video. Okay, now, here comes the tricky part. We've got to fussy cut this guy and we're going to cut his arms off completely. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a really good pair of scissors. And guys, you can't use a large pair of scissors here. You've got to use a small pair, a small, really sharp pair, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut him completely out and I'm going to go close to the black line. but not on it. So just on the outside. And the artist, when the artist drew him, she did it in a way that was kind of, you know, not messy, that's not the word really, but you know, a loose drawing. It's not real tight, perfect lines. So there's a lot of this little sketching up here. So don't worry about it. You can, if you're really good at fussy cutting, you can go around each of those hairs, but I'm not that good. And this is for a kid, for a Halloween project. So I'm not going to be worried too much about how perfect it is. And I'm just going to cut off his little stray hairs. So make sure you just stay on the outside of that black line. All right. And leave a little bit sliver of a white around. That will kind of hide any of your crooked or messy cuts, because the eye will only see the black line and not see any messy or jagged cuts. And let's be honest, the person who's going to receive this is going to look at it for about 2 seconds and they're going to open it up because they want the candy. So don't be hard on yourself about your cutting. Now this is tricky. Let's cut out. He's got kind of like a V there, and that one looks pretty good. Okay, now I know. Cut it off. Cut that arm off. And cut that arm off. Let's set it right there. Now the trick is don't lose them while you're doing this next part. This is a piece of DSP, Designer Series paper, from the Gather Together or Come Together Designer Series paper. It's the wood grain. So I'm just going to stamp Boo to You right there in the middle in that black. And I'm going to trim it down, and let's see how it will look. Let's cut it down a little bit more, and I need my bigger scissors so that I cut that straight. You can use your trimmer, of course. And let's cut that, and I feel like it's not even. There we go. All right, so we're going to just put it like that. Now, you need your fine tip glue pen for this. Hopefully I can get mine open. I've had a little bit of a issue lately with it, but I think we got it. Now let's put just one little dot of glue right there. Well, that was kind of a big dot. And we're going to take these and we're going to lay them over. I'm going to let them hang over a little bit, because once it's dry, I'm going to cut that off so it'll be even with the edge of the little sign. Okay, so there we go, like that. Okay, now see, we need to just let that dry, leave it alone. I'm going to scoot it over here. If you're using your fine tip glue, now make sure you close it. You got to stick that little needle in there, and that will keep it from clogging. All right, let me move those out. Now, while we wait for that to dry, let's make the box. And like I said, I made this box specifically for these little coconut nests, so it is exactly the right size. But again, you can use, you know, my goodness, how many different kinds of candy could we think of to fit in this box? This is a piece of Mango Melody cardstock that is 5.5 by 6 1/4, and we're going to score all 4 sides at 1.5. All right, so just 1.5 and turn, 1.5 and turn, 1.5 and turn. You got it, 1.5 and turn. Now for the lid, you need a piece of basic black. That is, let's see on my notes, 4 3/4 by 4. And we're going to make a tiny little shim to make this lid just be a tiny bit bigger than the bottom, okay? And these are 4 Post-it notes, and I'm going to stick them on the side of my trimmer here. And I'm going to score all 4 sides this time at 3/4. This is going to just make my lid a hair wider. All right, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. Okay, now putting these, the box, the bottom and the lid together is going to be the same way for both ones. So get your bone folder and score those lines. You might notice my bone folder is a mess. It's because I was re-inking ink pads with it, which I shouldn't do, but I did. I was in a hurry, and then I didn't wipe all the ink off. Shame on me. A plastic spoon works really well. I don't know why I keep using my bone folder. Okay, let's make the lid first. We're going to first cut the corners from corner to corner, right here to right there. There we go. Now, on the long side, let's trim the score lines, each one like this. Okay. And if you hear knocking in the background, you guys, just to let you know, they are putting on a new roof next door, and they have been doing it all week. There's no peace and quiet around here, so I apologize. All right, so I put a little bit of adhesive on each one. I used Fast Fuse, which isn't available anymore. So if you don't have Fast Fuse, use Tear and Tape, or Tombow liquid is really good for this kind of project. If you use liquid, you can take a little clothespin and hold that closed right there while it dries, and it holds really, really well. Okay, there's our lid. Now we're going to do the same thing here, corner to corner on these. And then we're going to go in on the long side and cut our score lines there and there. All right, let's put some adhesive on the outside of each triangle, and we're going to fold them in to the sides like that. There we go. All right, now let's see. Perfect fit. And I only have one left, but it holds two. And let's try that lid on there. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. It's like a little gift box. Isn't that nice? All right. Now, let's do a little more stamping, and we're almost done. Here is that diagonal background stamp from the Tiny Keepsakes, and I'm just going to stamp it in Memento Black on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. And then I'm going to take my new trimmer. This is new, coming soon from Stampin' Up. Is this beautiful trimmer, and I'm just going to cut this. Whoops, that's a little bit too far out. I'm just going to leave a tiny little white border. All right, and right there, and one more right there. All right, this piece, in case you're wondering, let's see what size it comes out to. About 2 3/8 by 3 1/8. In case you want to pre-cut your paper to the right size. All right. Let's put that there, and let's come back and see. I think we'll probably dry. Now I'm going to take those tiny paper snips. Let me get all this out of the way. Take these tiny paper snips and just cut that even, so it looks like his hands are coming around from the back side. So cute. Let's put a dimensional on here and put that right there. He's so cute. Boo to you. Now another dimensional on our box, and he's kind of leaning to the side, and so I thought, let's have him kicking one of these tombstone stickers, right? This is from, and I barely have any left, but these were the Monster Bash enamel dots, and the little tombstones on the bottom are super cute. And then I think I'm also going to put some of these little dots. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. Let's get some fresh putty there on the end, and that will get these little dots. These are they already have adhesive on them, so you can just slide them off with your Take Your Pick tool and stick them down like that. Last but not least, of course, we need a bow. We used Mango Melody Stamp and Blend, so let's use Mango Melody seam binding. One of the wonderful things about Stampin' Up! Products is that there are lots of coordinating accessories for each color, so it makes finding the right color a cinch. All right, last but not least, let's grab a glue dot and put that right there, and we are done. I think these would be great adult Halloween treats. The little coconut nests seem more like an adult candy, if you ask me, but Again, fill them with whatever you want and make somebody's Halloween really fun. You guys, I hope you love this project. If you have questions, of course, let me know. Send me a message and click on the link here on YouTube, and it will take you to my post where you can get all the measurements and the products that I used. Have a wonderful Halloween. Bye-bye.